The National Electrical Code does not mandate a fluorescent light specifically over a kitchen sink, nor does it require its switch to be adjacent to the door. Instead, the NEC focuses on ensuring adequate illumination of kitchen work surfaces and accessibility of lighting controls. Let's examine the relevant sections of the NEC to understand these requirements. Firstly, NEC Section 410.4a, titled General, mandates that artificial lighting be provided for the illumination of kitchen work surface areas. This section emphasizes the provision of sufficient lighting for tasks performed on kitchen counters and work surfaces. It intentionally avoids specifying the type of light fixture, allowing flexibility in design and technology choices. This means that fluorescent, incandescent, light-emitting diode, or any other approved lighting technology can be used, as long as it provides adequate illumination. Secondly, NEC Section 404.4a, titled Location, deals with the placement of switches controlling lighting outlets, and that at least one wall switch-controlled lighting outlet shall be installed in every habitable room and bathroom. These switches must be readily accessible and conveniently located. For kitchens, this translates to requiring a switch that controls the lighting to be located at the entrance to the kitchen. This requirement ensures that occupants can easily turn on the light upon entering the kitchen, enhancing safety and convenience. It is important to note that the switch does not need to be adjacent to the sink. The NEC prioritizes the accessibility of the switch from the entrance of the room, rather than its proximity to a specific fixture. Given these requirements, under-cabinet halogen fixtures equipped with a touch switch can indeed meet the intent of the NEC, provided they adequately illuminate the kitchen work surface areas. The touch switch, while located under the cabinets, still provides a means to control the lighting and contribute to the overall illumination of the kitchen. The NEC does not prohibit the use of such fixtures as long as they are installed in accordance with all applicable safety standards and provide the required illumination levels. The interpretation of the NEC can vary among inspectors, and local amendments may also influence specific requirements. It is crucial to consult with local electrical authorities or qualified electricians to ensure full compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Some jurisdictions may have stricter interpretations or additional requirements beyond the national NEC standards. Understanding the intent and flexibility of the NEC is essential. It aims to provide a framework for safe electrical installations while allowing for innovation and adaptation to different design preferences. While the NEC does not specifically mandate a fluorescent light over the sink with a switch adjacent to the door, it does require adequate illumination of work surfaces and readily accessible lighting controls. Therefore, under-cabinet halogen fixtures with a touch switch can be a code-compliant solution, provided they meet these general requirements. To elaborate further on the topic of kitchen lighting and NEC compliance, let's delve into some additional considerations and related code sections. One important aspect is the concept of general lighting versus task lighting. General lighting refers to the overall illumination of a room, providing a base level of brightness. Task lighting, on the other hand, is focused on illuminating specific work areas, such as countertops or sinks. The NEC recognizes the importance of both types of lighting in a kitchen. While Section 410.4 addresses the need for general illumination of work surfaces, task lighting can supplement this, providing additional light where it is needed most. Under-cabinet lighting, as in the scenario described, is often considered task lighting as it directly illuminates the countertop below. This type of lighting can be particularly useful for food preparation and other tasks that require focused illumination. Another relevant code section is NEC Section 210.70a, which pertains to lighting outlets required in dwelling units. This section specifies that at least one wall switch-controlled lighting outlet shall be installed in every habitable room, including kitchens. As mentioned earlier, the switch must be readily accessible and conveniently located near the entrance to the room. The purpose of this requirement is to ensure that occupants can easily turn on the lights upon entering a room, preventing accidents and providing a sense of security. In the case of a kitchen, this requirement can be met by a wall switch that controls a ceiling-mounted light fixture, under-cabinet lighting, or any other type of lighting that provides adequate illumination. The key is that the switch must be easily accessible and control a lighting outlet within the kitchen. Furthermore, it's worth noting that the NEC allows for alternative switching arrangements such as occupancy sensors or dimmers, as long as they provide equivalent control and functionality. For example, an occupancy sensor could be used to automatically turn on the lights when someone enters the kitchen, eliminating the need for a manual switch. Similarly, a dimmer switch could be used to adjust the brightness of the lights, providing greater control over the lighting level. These alternative switching arrangements can be particularly useful for energy conservation and creating a more comfortable lighting environment. In addition to the NEC requirements, there may be local building codes or ordinances that further regulate kitchen lighting. These local codes may specify additional requirements, such as minimum light levels or specific types of fixtures. It is essential to consult with local building officials or qualified electricians to ensure full compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. When selecting lighting fixtures for a kitchen, it is important to consider the color rendering index, or CRI, of the light source. The CRI is a measure of how accurately a light source renders colors compared to natural sunlight. A higher CRI indicates that colors will appear more natural and vibrant. For kitchen lighting, it is generally recommended to choose light sources with a CRI of 80 or higher. This will ensure that food and other objects appear accurately colored, making it easier to prepare meals and perform other tasks. Also, consider the color temperature of the light source. Color temperature is a measure of the warmth or coolness of the light, measured in Kelvin. Lower color temperatures, such as 2700 Kelvin to 3000 Kelvin, produce a warm, yellowish light that is often preferred for living rooms and bedrooms. Higher color temperatures, such as 4000 Kelvin to 5000 Kelvin, produce a cooler, whiter light that is often preferred for kitchens and bathrooms. For kitchen lighting, it is generally recommended to choose light sources with a color temperature of 3000 Kelvin to 4000 Kelvin. This will provide a bright, clean light that is ideal for food preparation and other tasks. The NEC also addresses the issue of electrical safety in kitchens, particularly in areas near sinks and other water sources. Section 210.8 A7 requires ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection for all 125 volt, 15 amps and 20 amps receptacles installed in kitchens. This requirement is intended to protect against electrical shock hazards that can occur when using electrical appliances near water. A GFCI is a device that monitors the current flowing through a circuit and quickly shuts off the power if it detects a ground fault. This can prevent serious injury or even death in the event of an electrical shock. Therefore, it is important to ensure that all receptacles in the kitchen are GFCI protected, especially those near the sink. In addition to GFCI protection, the NEC also requires that all electrical wiring in kitchens be installed in accordance with safe wiring practices. This includes using appropriate wiring methods, such as conduit or cable, and properly grounding all electrical equipment. It is also important to avoid overloading electrical circuits, which can lead to overheating and fire hazards. Therefore, it is essential to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that all electrical wiring in the kitchen is installed safely and in accordance with the NEC. To summarize, the NEC does not specifically require a fluorescent light over the sink in a kitchen with a switch adjacent to the door. However, it does require adequate illumination of work surfaces and readily accessible lighting controls. Under-cabinet halogen fixtures with a touch switch can be a code-compliant solution, provided they meet these general requirements. It is important to consult with local building officials or qualified electricians to ensure full compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Also, consider the color rendering index and color temperature of the light source, as well as electrical safety requirements such as GFCI protection. By following these guidelines, you can create a safe and well-lit kitchen that meets the requirements of the NEC. Let's consider a few more practical scenarios to illustrate how the NEC requirements for kitchen lighting might apply in different situations. Imagine a kitchen with a large island in the center, used for food preparation and dining. In this case, under-cabinet lighting might not be sufficient to provide adequate illumination of the entire work surface. Additional lighting, such as pendant lights or recessed lights, might be needed to supplement the under-cabinet lighting and ensure that the entire island is well lit. The placement of these additional lights should be carefully considered to avoid glare and shadows, and they should be controlled by a readily accessible switch. Alternatively, consider a small apartment kitchen with limited counter space. In this case, under-cabinet lighting might be the most practical and efficient way to provide task lighting for the work surface. A single, centrally located ceiling light could provide general illumination for the entire kitchen. The switch for both the under-cabinet lighting and the ceiling light should be readily accessible near the entrance to the kitchen. Furthermore, suppose a homeowner wants to install smart lighting in their kitchen, with the ability to control the lights remotely via a smartphone or voice assistant. In this case, the smart lighting system must still comply with the NEC requirements for readily accessible lighting controls. This means that there must be a physical switch or other readily accessible control device that can be used to turn the lights on and off, even if the smart lighting system is not functioning properly. The NEC does not allow for relying solely on remote control or voice activation for lighting control, as these methods may not be reliable in all situations. The requirements are there to ensure that all people can have access to a physical means of lighting control. It is also worth noting that the NEC is updated on a 3-year cycle, with new editions being published every 3 years. The 2008 NEC was referenced previously, but there may be newer editions of the NEC that are currently in effect. It is important to consult the most current edition of the NEC to ensure compliance with the latest requirements. The NEC is a comprehensive document that covers a wide range of electrical topics. It is not intended to be a design manual, but rather a set of minimum safety standards. It is up to qualified electricians and other professionals to interpret and apply the NEC in specific situations. The NEC is constantly evolving to keep pace with new technologies and changing safety concerns. It is important to stay informed about the latest changes to the NEC and to consult with qualified professionals to ensure that all electrical installations are safe and compliant. In conclusion, while the NEC does not specifically require a fluorescent light over the sink in a kitchen with a switch adjacent to the door, it does require adequate illumination of work surfaces and readily accessible lighting controls. Under-cabinet halogen fixtures with a touch switch can be a code-compliant solution, provided they meet these general requirements. However, it is important to consider the specific circumstances of each kitchen and to consult with local building officials or qualified electricians to ensure full compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. By following these guidelines, you can create a safe and well-lit kitchen that meets the requirements of the NEC.